Red Bull appears to have one less problem to solve. Sergio Perez is not the guy that should be in the second seat for the rest of the season, and any kind of coping, bias, or blind love cannot fix or change that. Spa was the last chance for Checo, and the fact that there was no external issue at fault for him finishing so far down in the field is really the worst part. If he had crashed trying a risky move, gotten shunted at the start, or even received a track limits penalty from pushing too hard, then he would have at least shown ambition and spirit. What we saw, however, was the definition of a wet lettuce performance. So problem solved, right? Well, not quite, because Red Bull now have a bigger problem on their hands, as once they have cut off one head, two more have replaced it. So how will Red Bull decide on their driver lineups for next year? Well, there's going to be a pretty spicy head-to-head over the summer break where, despite there being no official races, two drivers will race for their careers. Want to know how Red Bull will choose their brand new driver lineups? It's going to be a pretty tasty few weeks in Milton Keynes, and no, I'm not even cooking a barbecue, where the two Red Bull hopefuls will lock horns. We won't harp on about Checo, but we think it's important that we let you know the context before discussing Red Bull's headache-inducing driver decision. This is how Helmut Marko assessed the race at Spa, as well as what he said about the upcoming review of the team on Monday, which extends beyond the mere issue of the driver lineup. Sergio had the opportunity to take a good result from second place. Unfortunately, that wasn't the case, especially in the last stint, he completely collapsed. What looked so positive in qualifying unfortunately didn't materialize in the race. For us, the situation is such that we will also go through the overall situation for 2025. We have a number of drivers and we have a concept, but of course every result is important for Checo, and 8th place from second on the grid is certainly not what we expected. So if Checo truly is on his way out, then Red Bull have a decision to make, and it's become apparent that Red Bull will be using their final filming day to pit Daniel Ricciardo and Liam Lawson against each other to decide where the drivers will be following the summer break. Something important to note is that Red Bull will already have information readily available to them about how the Kiwi and the Aussie have performed in the VCARB car this year, and it's apparent that this data alone isn't enough to split the drivers and make the decision an easy one, with Lawson also reportedly impressing all season in his behind-the-scenes duties. Meanwhile, Daniel Ricciardo was seen having a discussion with Christian Horner and Lauren Mekies following the Grand Prix at Spa-Francorchamps, with many assuming that he was being given the news that he'll be driving for Red Bull for the rest of the season. However, that is not the case at all, with the filming day being more of a job interview according to the Aussie driver. Here's what Daniel had to say. So yeah, at 35, a job interview. We'll see. We were always planning to do a filming day. I might do a few extra laps. Will it have some weight or not? Let's see. I guess my approach is every time I'm going to get strapped in, I try and do the best I can. However, Daniel was quick to downplay the impact of this filming day, despite it being pretty clear that the final decision about where he spends the rest of the year likely hinges on both his current form and his display at the filming day compared to Liam Lawson. He would immediately walk back his excitement, as this is what he had to say when asked whether he thought it was a job interview or not. I don't know, honestly. Last year when I drove the Red Bull, the current car after Silverstone, that was, let's say, pretty legit. I was driving the current car and I knew if I could do something special, maybe the call comes. That definitely felt a little bit more real. That's probably the best way I can answer it. I'm not going to say no, this doesn't, but that one I was very aware that this could be something real here. This one I'm maybe a little bit more not sure about. The best part of this situation is Liam Lawson having his future at Red Bull more or less confirmed by this series of events. It's a well-known fact that if Lawson was denied a seat for 2025 by the Red Bull family, then he would be free to walk away from the team and leave as a free agent. Helmut Marko has insisted for the past year that Lawson would indeed have his loyalty rewarded following his super sub appearance, and whether or not Lawson will be in the Red Bull seat, Lauren Mekies had made it clear that the Red Bull family aimed to keep him on side and within the team, with the VCARB team boss saying, "It's a very privileged situation to be in because not always do you have actually the next guy ready to go. And in that case, you really know they are ready to go. They've raced 5 races with this team last year. He has been completely embedded with us since the beginning of the season. He does all the sim work, including at race support, so it's very good to know that he's sort of ready to go. Of course, it's frustrating for drivers not to be in a car. He's been driving the Red Bull a couple of weeks ago. He's going to drive our car next week in testing. There are not so many opportunities, but we try and keep him warm and happy." so his position at VCARB would already be a comfortable fit, but it seems that Liam has been doing enough over the course of not only his performances last year, but the filming days, testing and behind-the-scenes responsibilities, that he is legitimately a consideration for a seat in the Red Bull main team alongside Max Verstappen. Clearly, he's done enough to make the choice an uncomfortable one, making the most of the opportunities he's been given. Now, I know what you're thinking, and it probably goes along the lines of three things. Surely Daniel is the safer option, he knows the Red Bull team. Surely Daniel is the right option, he has more experience, proving he isn't crash happy, and surely Daniel is the easier option, as there's no chance that he will punch up and challenge Max. Well, whatever seems safe, right, or easy, Red Bull have put themselves in a position where they have to take risks and don't have the luxury of doing anything else. They've left it late to replace Sergio Perez, hemorrhaging points in the Constructors' Championship with his low points or even pointless finishes, and now they need a driver who won't only finish a safe 6th, 7th or 8th, but one who will have the hunger to chase for the higher points positions without the likes of Jacques Villeneuve goading him into actually performing. Christian Horner has now confirmed that the filming day will be in this year's car and isn't being used as a tyre test. This means that the pace and performance witnessed by both drivers will be fully representative of their potential and not held back by any factors like the use of experimental tyres. This is what Horner had to say in regards to the upcoming filming day. It's a filming day, so they'll be filming, it's all about content. It is in the current car because you can do 200 kilometers in the current car, so they'll both be doing plenty of filming, before going on to be complimentary of Daniel's performance at Spa, saying, "I think he's done alright. I haven't looked at the race, I only saw the end result, he was 11th. However, this will be upgraded to 10th after Russell's disqualification, and starting on the soft tyre, he's obviously driven a good race." Horner would also go on to say that he wants to prioritize supporting Checo. However, given the fact that Checo failed to meet the team's expectations set out before him before the weekend yet again, it's safe to assume that the choice may well be taken out of Horner's hands. The team principal continues to show a baffling amount of loyalty to Perez, despite him being far more cutthroat with drivers in the past, even from their own program, giving further credence to the belief that there is more at play here than him just believing that Checo is the right man for the job. However, it must also be said that this reaction was immediately after the race in a very public forum. It may well be that following Monday's review that Christian comes round to the belief that Checo is no longer the man for the job. As much as he may want Checo to turn it around, if Lawson or Ricciardo demonstrate true pace and consistency across the filming day, then it will be hard for anyone to argue to keep Checo in that second Red Bull car. It's hard to know which driver would be the right call, given that every option for Red Bull comes with its own peril. Sticking with Checo doesn't seem like an option at all, and with the upcoming filming day, it seems that Red Bull are looking to make as informed of a decision as possible by seeing how both Liam Lawson and Daniel Ricciardo perform in this year's Red Bull car on a level playing field. The data is available for both in the RB car, and clearly that isn't enough to split the two of them, so it truly does seem that it all comes down to this. So what do you think? Which driver do you think would be the right fit for Red Bull, and do you think that we will see both of them on the grid following the summer break? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. Thank you for watching.